Alrighty, welcome. I'm doing another live video. Hopefully this works out pretty well. I have my old iPhone sitting up on my bedpost. Got a new mic stand I'm going to be using from now on. So hopefully everything's going pretty well. I can't tell, but I will check. I'll see if I can't go to my dashboard on my YouTube studio. Well, that's not there. So let's see if I go to my channel. I might be able to find this video live. That would be kind of freaky, wouldn't it be, if I could watch this live? Oh, there it is. Let's see if it'll work. Oh, that's freaky now, isn't it? Oh, gosh. Oh, that's freaky now, isn't it? Oh, gosh. Alright, so I'm going to have that up in the background. That looks pretty cool. Thank you, Michelle, for, commenting. I appreciate that. Again, I'm nervous doing live videos because it's a little different. It's not so much me getting to edit things as I'm speaking or what I'm doing. It's a lot more of being on the fly. So I've written down some things I want to talk about, and this whole video is not going to be super in-depth about my week at Menards, but it's going to be a general overview and an explanation as to why I haven't posted a video in a week now. Now, I chose not to make a video in a week because I wanted to have that week of working at work at Menards to see what it was like and how that affects my schedule and what it was just like in general on my personal well-being. And I found a couple things that have concerned me. To start with, my first day went pretty well. It was a big learning curve and a big experience that I've never really had before. Prior to my first day working there, my orientation day, which was the Wednesday or Thursday prior to that Saturday, I had not seen the board shed or the lumber yard, whatever you want to call it, that whole back area. I had not really walked through it and seen all of it. It wasn't until my first day that I got to see what it looked like and what I would be doing while I was there. And it was a little overwhelming. I know I made a video before talking about, during my interview, they said this would be a real difficult job, you're not going to be ready for it, kind of thing. And I brushed it off because I thought, well, I've done so much other crap that was very labor intensive that this would be the easiest thing I have yet to do. And I'll admit it, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I was utterly wrong. There's nothing about it that I was correct. It's a very labor intensive job, and it's very tiring. So during my days, 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, I am walking. In fact, my brother-in-law sent me this on Facebook. He was freaking out about how many steps I was getting on my Fitbit. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. He was telling me that his friend Colton is always number one on his friends list for steps. He goes for multi-mile runs and walks with his dog every day. WTF are you doing? And I looked down at the screenshot I took, and this was for Wednesday. I had 109,556 steps in 3 days. On average, I'm walking about 21,000 steps a day. My goal for my Fitbit is to walk 10,000. I'm 200 and something percent over that. I think it was Tuesday that I got near 30,000 steps. So this job is so much walking, and it's this weird in between with shoes. So I have work boots I bought. And I wear Doc Martens almost religiously when it comes to being outside in the winter or working, whatever. I think they're some of the best boots, and I think they're high quality. I bought these boots, they're steel toe, and I had them for driving the trucks. And I thought, well, I'm going to be working in the lumber yard, so I should wear those too. Now here comes the issue. They're great if you drop a 2x4x12 on it, or especially like a 6x6, which is this big square that's like 12 feet long and weighs like 80 pounds. You drop that on your foot, you're going to break a toe. So having steel toes is a fantastic thing to have. But when you're walking like 30,000 steps a day, it's too much. It hurts your feet. They're not made for walking that much. So I'll wear some skate shoes. Or, oh, just wear normal tennis shoes. But then you run into the issue of hurting your feet. And that's just, there's so much jumping around and running and climbing up things that the boots just aren't working well enough at the job to wear them, but I need them, otherwise I'll hurt my feet if something were to fall on it. It's just preventative care. But then it's just this weird in between. You wear boots all day, you hurt your back, everything just like is sore because your feet hurt so much, but your feet are protected, you're not breaking any toes. So you wear tennis shoes and you feel a little more lumber. That's kind of funny. Lumber, because I work in the lumber yard. Get it? Your body feels a little better, but at the same time, you're exposing your feet to way more damage if something were to fall. And just the other day, I was driving the forklift and picked up this huge stack of wood, and we had to unbundle it, and we're putting it up in the upstairs canopy in this big board shed. And the front row, about, I want to say 10 chunks of lumber, they were 2x6s. No, they were 2x8s. My bad. They were 2x8s by 10, so they're 10 feet long, and they just went whoop, boom down one, like a whole story. They just fell, and hit the ground. And if anyone was down there, first off, they'd be horribly injured. But that's the kind of stuff that falls at work. So if I'm just wearing some Nike running shoes, I'm gonna get really hurt if those fall on my feet. So having boots is better, but having shoes is better for walking. So it's this weird in between. I don't know. I'm sure I can find some kind of thing to solve that issue. So going on with that, I'll just describe in general what I do for my job and what it's like. So basically, I get up in the morning and I go to work. I need to be there by 9 a.m. And from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I am flat stacking wood, which is essentially if people are, construction workers or DIYers, whoever is going out in the board shed to buy, chunks of wood. They'll sort through the wood to find the best piece of wood, and then the ones they don't want, they just kind of throw off to the side, or it just becomes this messy stack. So I have to go back through and flat stack all the wood, and then we can move that if it's too low, put down a new block of wood, everything in it, undo the bundle, then set the old wood on top of it. That's one of their main things, is always put the old stuff on top. We want the old stuff sold first before you sell the new things. You don't want to keep the old stuff at the bottom, put the new things on top. Otherwise, the old stuff will never get sold. So I drive a forklift, unload semis, even though I don't think the forklifts are quite capable for carrying some of the things that they carry. They're a little scary. You could probably push one over when it's carrying like a 12-foot sheet of drywall, and it would fall over, and the thing just rocks back and forth. But essentially, I carry lumber all day, and I'm walking 30,000 steps a day. And that's a lot to put on a person working 9 to 5 every single day. And when I went through my orientation, I'd said, I'm going for part-time. And I've talked about this with you before. Being part-time is because I've been focusing way too much on making money and making everything about work than I have my school. And while I'm in college, I'm supposed to be focused on school. That's my main priority, is just doing schoolwork. It's not sitting around and counting how many, freaking dollar bills I have in my pocket, which isn't much, and, doing that and just having fun. I really need to get my education. And I've said before that I've been struggling with my statistics class. It's been kicking my butt. And in my last vlog, I talked about how I'm going to be taking another business stats class. And at the rate I'm going, this 9 to 5 thing, it's not going to work. So this whole week I've worked 9 to 5. And then tomorrow and Saturday I'm working 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., which is going to be different for me. We'll see how that goes. Today is my first day off. But this week has just been a whole lot. It's been, it hurts my body. I'm a little man. If you don't know, I'm barely 5'6". Some of these stacks of wood they go way above my head, and I'm reaching and climbing way up there. Most of the other guys I work with are well above my height, so it's easy for them, and they're stockier guys. I'm just a little 20-year-old man, not even 5'8", and I got an autoimmune disease, so it's pretty difficult to do a lot of stuff they do. But I like my job in general. It's a job. That, and when people ask me, "Oh, Caleb, how is your first week of work going?" I'll say, "Well, it's going." "Well, what do you think about it?" And I always tell them, "It's a job." Because that's what it is. And this isn't like, I don't want this used against me and get me fired or something, but it's just a job. I am not seeking to get a career at Menards. I am not trying to find ways to get into management or move up or whatever. It's just a job to make some money while I'm at school, because we all need money, whether you like it or not. That's just the way it is. So yeah, and we get paid weekly, so that's kind of cool. But I won't get my first paycheck for another 2 weeks. So it's like, it feels like I'm working for free, But that's a brief summary of what I do for work. And after working the 9 to 5 every day, which in my orientation, like I said, I was going for part time, but they were doing this 9 to 5 thing they put me on the schedule for, and that's not part time. Growing up, listening to Dolly Parton, I'm working 9 to 5. That is a full time job. Like, that's the most stereotypical. I'm working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. That's a full time job. Federal government, right now, I believe, says anything over 30 hours is considered full time. Most places here that I know of consider 40 hours full time. Whatever it may be, it's a lot of time spent at work for that. I'd rather be there at like 7 a.m. and get off at, I don't know, 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. versus staying till 5 p.m. But anyways, I'm getting off track. I was doing all this stuff for work and in my orientation, telling them, I just want a part-time job to make some money. And they said, that's fine. Most of our employees are part-time and they're in college or they got another full-time job. Doesn't matter. We'll work with your schedule. Whatever reason it is, they put me this basically full-time schedule all this week, and by some miracle from God or the dean of Scott Community College, I've had no assignments this week. So it's been this fantastic experiment, seeing if I can handle this just on my own, not even making YouTube videos, not even doing schoolwork, just being a normal human being, getting off from 9 to 5 and coming home and having like 4 or 5 hours before I go to bed and have to get back up in the morning, and see what that does to me. And the result I got was it causes severe pain. It's not traumatizing, but it's really difficult. I told one of the other guys I worked with about how I felt like sore. I'm just tired. This job is a lot on me. And they're like, "This is a lot for you." And I just looked at him, and he's this big, tubby kind of guy. He's real nice. But he just plays video games all day. He goes to classes sometimes, but he just plays video games. He goes home, plays video games, and I'm like, "You don't do anything else in your life?" "No." Well, I mean, but I mean, that's the point, right? I teach Sunday school. I preach at my church. I run all these youth activities. I'm constantly trying to help out at my church and with my parents and anyone else that needs help around here. I don't like not doing anything, but this job puts me in that position where I'm so exhausted at the end of the day. That I can't do anything. And I hate that. I hate having that feeling where I just want to sit down and watch Netflix and binge watch it, because I don't think that's necessarily good for you. But on the other hand, I'm just too tired to do anything else, and I just don't want to go to bed right now because I feel like I'm wasting time. But then again, watching Netflix, I'm wasting time. Anyways, it's been really sore. It's been really tiring. Because I go to bed around 9 to 10 o'clock, I don't have that much time between 5 and 9, or 5 to 10. I mean, it's still 5 hours. But when you get home, you shower, you get ready for whatever you gotta do. A lot of the time, my time's already taken up. So the youth activities on Wednesday nights I do for my church start at 5:30. So I have 30 minutes to get off work, come to the church, and I teach everything. I get off around 7 or 7:30. Then I'll come home and then work on an assignment or something. And then Tuesdays there's Lego Club at our library. The church does, which is from 4 to 5, which I wouldn't be able to do anyways because of this job. And then it just takes up too much time the way it is, and I get too exhausted doing it. So after thinking about it and talking to a manager, I have officially revised my schedule, and now I only work 3 days a week, and that starts next week. And my official days that I've requested to be working will be the same henceforth. So next week I'm going to work Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'll work Saturday, and that's all 9 to 5. But then the week after that and my week following all of this will most likely just be Thursday, Friday, 9 to 5, then Saturdays would be 2 to 10. So I still got a job, still making some money, but it's been really difficult, and I needed a break from doing daily things, or just being on social media or YouTube or doing anything to figure out whether or not I can do this job and actually put my all into it and not just be like a lazy employee, because I don't think you should be that. I think if you're doing a job, you should take some pride in it. And I do take pride in, now this is my position, this is what I do. I don't feel like I'm necessarily trained the best, but it is my first week. It takes time. But so I try and take pride in that. But when I come home and I'm so tired that I can't do anything else, it's not worth it at that point. Not really worth it. So that is why I have not made a video for the past week, is because I needed to sit back and just be able to understand how I'm feeling and what's going on, and if I'd be able to even do this. If I was able to do this, doing 9 to 5, just Monday through Fridays, basically continuing forward, I would probably do a live stream every day for like 10 minutes. And I don't feel like that's enough time. It's easy to do a 6-minute or a 10-minute video when I can edit out all the spaces. I already kind of map out what I'm gonna say. It's not so much a rant. That's easy peasy. It's not so easy when it's a live stream and I have to actually speak coherently. I can't just make up weird little spaces and pauses and blurbs, and I can't edit it to make it look a little better. But beyond that, this week has actually been a really cool week. So my girlfriend, Michelle, as you've seen before, my future wife, came up from Kansas City to visit me. She swung in about Monday evening, and then she was here all Tuesday. Then she left Wednesday morning. So I was working 9 to 5, so I was able to spend time with her in the morning for a little bit, and then I spent the whole afternoon with her. She convinced me to finally sit down and watch Beauty and the Beast, the live one. She likes it. There are definitely things about it that I liked. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the movie because I don't think Emma Watson, is that her name? Emma Watson? Michelle? Is it? Message me if it's Emma Watson. I don't know. Hermione from Harry Potter. I think she's real auto-tuned. But there's some funny things in it, and I liked it. So we gotta do that, and she got me a whole bunch of this aloe vera stuff because they don't really sell any of the good stuff here in Davenport. She bought me 9 of them. So far, I've drank 2, maybe 3. It is Emma Watson. Okay, thank you, baby. I've already drank 2 of these. She wrote me a note saying slow down before she left, so I'm gonna slow down on it. Probably just gonna do like a glass of it a day, but you still can't stop my monster mule. Sweet tooth or addiction. But I just want to do in the live stream is I want to thank you, Michelle, for coming up here. You made the beginning of my week so much better, and it was so nice coming back home to someone that loved me, was able to listen and understand what it was like doing all this. Not to get too gushy on the internet, but I do really love her, and I appreciate you for coming up here and doing that. It means a lot to me. I don't want to make this whole video just a rant on how much a blue collar job sucks and how I can't handle it. But so what? If someone else can do the job better than me, hey, hire that person. But I'll just end it with this: that my mindset for this job is that if they call me up and say, Caleb, you're fired, I'll say okay, and I'll go home. And that'll be it. That's my mindset for this job, because it is just a job, but I do like working there. So John Menard, please don't use this as evidence to fire me. I would not appreciate that. So moving on from that, I want to talk about some videos, some video ideas that I have for some future uploads, and I want to talk about a documentary that I've been thinking about making for the past 2 years now. Starting with thanks to Ooh for the suggestion. I think this is a great suggestion, and I think I'm going to make it. But these are all videos that I'm going to make sometime in the future. Could be the next one, could be a year from now, whatever it is. These are videos I have. Ooh suggested making China's social credit system. So it'd be a similar video, kind of like a sequel to my Don't Use 23andMe video, where I am strongly against 23andMe, and if you looked at the news, 23andMe now says if you use them, they'll tell you if you have diabetes or not, or at risk for diabetes. Just telling you, don't do it, okay? Don't do it. They will jump on you real quick. Just don't do it, all right? Don't do it. They're trying to entice all Americans because Americans are all obese and have diabetes these days. If I had diabetes, I'd be dead. So, thanks, Graves' disease. So the China social credit system, I think that'd be a really cool video to do. If you don't know what that is, if you know what your FICO score system here is in the States, like a credit score, imagine that, but for your everyday life. So it'd be like an Uber driver always asking to get 5 stars. Imagine it's that, but your everyday life. So every interaction you have with a waitress, your teacher, your doctor, or just someone on the sidewalk, people rate you on how you are as a person. If you don't get a good enough score, you're blacklisted. The next idea is the unlikely future for driverless cars, and don't want to give away too much on that, but my experience being a truck driver and driving many of different cars, and also being a enthusiast of Tesla, I think there's a lot of crap going on with Tesla that just is so stupid and does not make any sense, and I don't get why Elon Musk does a lot of the things. But like they just announced their Model Y, which completes their sexy lineup. So there's the Model S, there's the Model 3, there's the Model X, and there's the Model Y. So sexy. Very nice, Elon. But I want to talk about the unlikely future of driverless cars in our lifetime. Then there is using an iPod in 2019. I haven't talked about this, but while I was in Galesburg when I was still a truck driver, the manager there was pretty good friends with me. And she found something that she knew I would like, and it is this old iPod Mini. And they were made by HP at that point and Apple. So the hard drive is HP, everything else is Apple. But I wanted to do a video discussing the feasibility of using that in 2019. Another video I'm thinking about doing is this idea that there is no such thing as coincidences. That some people, think about it like this. If the person that didn't come up with the wheel, if the person that came up with the wheel, if they never came up with the wheel as an idea, someone else would. So if the Wright brothers never invented the first flying plane, someone else would. If Henry Ford didn't, successfully create an assembly line, not that he created the assembly line, but he perfected it. If he didn't perfect the assembly line, somebody else would. So is that there's no coincidences, and I want to go into that as a topic for an idea. Then I thought about doing like a vlog series where it's about a specific place, and I just kind of go around there, and I have like 5 different vlogs or something, kind of like a series, but I go back there every single day and see what's changed and whatnot. But that's an idea. I don't know if I'll actually do with that one. Then I want to do an Xbox 360 in 2019. I've had my Xbox 360 since 2015. I think that's when the Xbox One came out. I got my Xbox One, or my 360 when the One came out. And I still use it. And it's my main DVD player for my room. It was my main just entertainment system when I was in Canada. And it still is. Then I want to talk about how to save the environment. So I am not a hippie anymore. I used to be real hippie and climate changey-ish, whatever. I'm not anymore. I don't really give a crap. I think a lot of it's bunk. But if you do care about saving certain parts of the environment, there are really simple steps you could do that are not what people tell you to do. And it's so dumb what some people think that you should do to help the environment, and it really doesn't. There's like a couple really simple things you can do that help the environment if you really cared about it. And I want to make a video discussing that. And then the last idea I have is actually a podcast review. So there's a couple podcasts that I want to talk about. Some of them right here are the last podcast on the left, the No Agenda podcast, Generation Y, Planet Money from NPR, the Casey Neistat podcast with his wife, Candace, the Daddies and Dungeons podcast. Then there's Story Break, and there's several other ones that I think would all be great podcasts to review. So I don't know if I'd be able to really play a clip of that. I don't know where the copyright infringement kind of comes in with podcasts. There is Creative Commons, so I can use it as long as it's a parody or informative, or I'm commenting on the piece or adding to it. But I don't know if that still applies to podcasts. We'll see. We'll work on that and see if I can get around that. But I want to review those and talk about it and see if you guys maybe want to listen to those too. So in the end of this, I'll talk about a documentary series that I wanted to make, and I've been wanting to make for several years. And it's actually a vaping documentary. So I don't care what you think about vaping. I don't care. I'm sure you don't care what I think about vaping. But I'm interested in what the world, America, thinks about vaping. So the original idea for this was in Nebraska. When I was living there, was that I would go to Aloma, which was like the biggest vape. It was made in Omaha. It's the biggest vape store in Omaha. I wanted to go to the owners, interview them, and then go to all the other vape stores in Omaha, and then try and go out to all the surrounding towns and things like that. And eventually, each episode, me going to every small town that has a vape stop, or a vape shop in the town, and I'd interview the owner and things like that, interview the mayor, and see what they think about each other, about people vaping. Is it better than cigarettes? Are there policies you want to put in place to stop this? Or ask the owners, like, is there something you want the mayor to know? And I do this for every little town. And then the grand finale for this whole little documentary series would be trying to see if I can get a meeting with Governor Pete Ricketts of Nebraska and just sit down and talk to him about the biggest complaints that everyone has about vaping from the vape shop owner's perspective, and discuss it with them, and then have that as the ending of the documentary. I was never able to do that as I went to Canada, and now that I'm living here, I've tweaked it a bit, and this is kind of what I want to go with. I want to research every vape shop that's in the Quad City area. I want to go and try and find the owner or the manager, whatever it may be, someone that's really influential in that business, and interview them. And then I'll go to the mayor of Davenport, Mayor Moline, and the mayor of Rock Island, and Bettendorf too. Those are the Quad Cities. And then sit down and talk with them and see what they think about vaping, the policies from the FCC, and all these different kind of things. Because that kind of subject, while some people are really sensitive about it, I'm not talking about race. I'm not talking about sexuality or religion. It's just this benign subject that people throw around, and I think that's a wholesome documentary that's not there to really offend anybody, and I'm just really interested in it. So that's a documentary series that I want to make at some point. I don't know any kind of timetable for when I would do that. Hopefully, by the time I make that, I have enough subscriber support that you guys would be able to help support that kind of mission to see, the fruits of your labor coming through. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a bit of a long rant, but I just wanted to get some of my thoughts out there, untainted and not edited or anything like that. Just speaking to you from the way I speak, and explain to you why I haven't posted the past week, some video ideas I have coming up. I wanted to thank my girlfriend, and I just want to thank you guys. Thank you to everyone that has continued to watch my channel. I've been doing this for 7 years now, I think. About 7 years. 8 years in October, actually. And it's been a long road making a YouTube channel. And I'm sure if I was more dedicated and put a lot more effort in when I was, 14, when I started this channel, it'd be way different. But now I'm putting that effort in later, and I'm seeing it's a lot more difficult to get in there and get an audience and create a community on YouTube. But I just want to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, just go ahead and comment, and I'll most likely answer to every one of you. Again, if you want to reach out to me, there is the official Twitter for the Bass ASB channel. You can message me on there, tweet at me or whatever, and I'll communicate with you through there. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, guys, and I'll most likely post another video for you guys today. All right, see ya.